This episode of In an Instant is powered by Wasabi.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben. This is the Instant Lounge. And today we are celebrating the fact that this YouTube channel has existed for 2 whole years. And it's all thanks to you, my magnificent audience, your incredible people out there who have supported this channel. You have submitted questions so that we can do a little Q&A today. And I'm very excited to get to it, so why don't we fire off?
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
All right, I've got your questions here on this iPad, In an Instant branded iPad. Obviously, we're on brand here. Before I get into the questions, I'm just very thankful overall for every single one of you who's currently watching this video, everyone who's watched, everyone who's commented, everyone who's liked. I know it seems kind of an obvious observation, but these things mean a lot to me. I'm a creator at heart. I'm a director, I'm a photographer, I'm a writer, I'm an editor. These are the things that I'm doing with my life. I don't have another job. The YouTube channel is something that I'm doing on the side, but creating is what I do at my core. And the YouTube channel has really offered me an opportunity to just pour that into something. It keeps evolving, and I can't wait to see where we go next. But the last 2 years have been seriously incredible, especially considering the state of the world. I started filming this channel in 2019. So when I started filming, COVID was not a thing that I really was on my radar or anybody's. And I released the first video right around the time where it hit the US, and sort of it put me in this pocket of like, well, nothing else is really going on. You may as well go nutty on that channel. And I have, and despite, continuing on with my other career, it's been such an amazing thing to have. And I really thank all of you. So let's get into your questions. You don't need to hear me, going off. Let me just take a quick sip. All right. First question is from It's Kinnick. Build the ultimate instant camera with features picked from cameras we have available today. This is a great question because usually when we're thinking about dream cameras and taking components from things we love, it's from the stuff from the past. It's you take the lens from the SX70, you take the ergonomics of the SX70, you take the focusing wheel of the SX, you basically want the SX70. But in terms of stuff from modern cameras, I think of like the Lomo Instant Square Glass. I think of the glass lens on that. I'm like, dang, I would love to take that. I would love to take some of the manual components of those cameras and Lomo Instant Wide, and I would probably like to port them into a Polaroid camera, get some manual stuff going on board, get the glass lens on board, even this body type, and maybe bulk this camera up, get a mirror inside it that lets me look through the lens. I don't know. Look, we're getting into SX70 territory, but I think if I were to build like a camera with today's components, that's what I would want. I would want an SLR that's shaped like this, which is not a typical concept and would be kind of weird, but I think everyone would really love it. I mean, people go nuts over that. The thing is, it's very hard to manufacture that. It's never gonna happen, but a boy can dream. Aiden Avery Photo asks, do you have a favorite historical instant photo, like one that was taken back in the old days? Yes, well, not really for its like photographic integrity, but there's this woman who was this older woman. She was visiting the grassy knoll one day. She just wanted to see old John F. Kennedy ride on through and see the president with her own 2 eyes. And she brought her Polaroid camera along for the ride, a Polaroid roll film camera. And she said, I'm gonna take a photo on this trip just so I can show my son that I saw the president of the United States drive on by. And she takes out her Polaroid roll film camera. She gets the focusing just right. John F. Kennedy is driving past. And bam, the president gets shot in the head. John F. Kennedy gets shot in the head by probably multiple shooters. Actually, I'm very sure of that. Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone. Anyway, this woman just took a photo at the exact moment of John F. Kennedy's assassination on Polaroid roll film. And it's insane. It's crazy. It's not a great photo by any stretch, but this is the only photo of the moment JFK was assassinated. And the fact that it's on Polaroid film is kind of hilarious. And the story is so ridiculous that it makes it like my favorite historical photo. Sure, there's photos that Andy Warhol took and, Keith Haring, but that is hard to beat in my opinion. Kodak Packfilm update, FP100C prices are out of this world, says Noah Budnitz. Noah, this is a great question. So the Kodak Packfilm stuff, if you're curious, you can look back at other videos where I talked about this, but basically there was a rumor that Kodak was gonna revive Packfilm, which was a type of instant film that peeled apart, and it's really incredible, and the cameras are amazing. FP100C prices are out of this world. Yeah, basically at this point, FP100C is not smart at all to purchase. It really hasn't been smart to buy that film in a few years. I'm very fortunate that I have like a stock of it. I'm not planning to buy more of that film. It's just completely irresponsible to do so, in my opinion. This is like a $7, $8 film that's selling for like 110 bucks. It makes no sense. In terms of like the state of the industry with Packfilm, Kodak Packfilm rumors were always kind of funny. It was something that Kodak was kicking around, but it's probably never gonna happen. But SuperSense recently announced that they were increasing the prices of their Packfilm by like 2 times. And SuperSense is the company that's trying to revive Packfilm, and I can't say I'm like loving that. I think that's really tough. It's a barrier to entry for buyers. I think it puts them probably further from the point they need to be for bringing this format back. So unfortunately, I don't have great news on that front, but I will say keep shooting integral film and get really comfortable with that as being the main instant film type. Finn with no brim asks, what have you learned over this period? This is a great question. It's been like a crazy 2 years, obviously. So much has changed. And so much has changed in terms of my concept of like what this channel is. When I first entered making in an instant, I had no expectations for it. I filmed a bunch of episodes, like I said, in 2019, didn't even release them like until 5 months later. But my vision was very much like, I'm in the studio, I'm doing breakdowns on history, I'm doing camera reviews to get more views. Like, it was sort of limited in that way. What I ultimately realized was that it was very much about the people in this community, the people that I would talk to, the people that I would meet in videos, the people I would make videos with, the people I would shoot with. Like, the other people in this community are what have made this absolutely like the best thing I've ever done. I just feel like I get to meet so many extraordinary artists and, make art with them and hang out with them and become very close friends with so many people. It's unbelievable how connective this has been for me. And I'm really loving making videos with others and being more collaborative with the channel. And that's something that I've learned over time. I was very insular about this initially because I was a little bit insecure about it, but I completely threw that away. I'm just friggin' loving it. And I'm loving just love. I love the love that everyone shares for this stuff. And that spigot never turns off. Weird thing to say. Murthaza says, what is your current outlook on the Polaroid company? Where do you see them heading? This is another really interesting question because I think when people think about companies in general that create products, the natural inclination is to think, well, what are they making next? What are they doing next? And when I think of Polaroid, I don't necessarily think about that. I think about like, are they making a film for my camera? Yes. Okay, cool. Like with Kodak. I mean, Kodak's a good example. Kodak, I don't think people need Kodak to make new products. If Kodak continued making their current stable of products, people would be fine with it. Kodak doesn't produce cameras, so there's no expectation that Kodak is gonna like come out with something else. And that's kind of where I'm at with Polaroid. Like, Polaroid makes the film that I use. They happen to release cameras that get people into this like hobby and this method of shooting. And I think that's really cool. And I think the cameras are actually really good. And I think they're probably gonna just keep releasing iterations of this kind of product. But I think as long as Polaroid is providing creative options like duochrome, I think we'll all be happy. I'm not honestly expecting them to do much more than that. And if they do, then that's a huge bonus. That's just where I'm at. I don't know if that's like not like aggressive enough for me to want, but it is what it is. Look, I'm just a happy guy and I'm just like enjoying shooting film. Go ahead, shoot me like JFK. Analog Wisdom, aka Jesse Wisdom, says, if you could shoot nothing else ever again, would you accept the 600 SE, aka the Goose, that never runs out of FP100C? Whoa. That's a very good question, Jesse. I've been on record as saying this, and I think I would still definitely say this, that the Goose I think is like the best camera ever made, in the sense that like you could be stuck with the Goose for the rest of your life and shoot a different format every day. It's a universal camera. It shoots everything. and it shoots them beautifully. The lens is amazing that that Mamiya made. So would I be happy with that camera forever? For sure. And the interesting thing about FP100C is it's instant film, so it's already got me on that front. It produces a negative, which I do love. And the results are incredible. I'm leaning toward yes, because I'm gonna have a never-ending supply of FP100C. The thing is, people would hate me though. Like if I was the one guy who had access to FP100C and I couldn't like give it away, I would actually people would absolutely hate me. That would not be good. I'm gonna actually say no, because I don't want to be hated or like, you know, killed. Pola Jelly says, are you doing anything specific at Bay Area Polacon or are you just attending? And Nick Collingwood also asked, is Polacon gonna be litty? So I don't like to date videos, but around the time this video is coming out, Polacon is happening, which is a Polaroid convention that usually takes place in Denton, Texas, and sometimes the Bay Area, and I am flying to San Francisco for this. I have hosted events at Polacon before. Currently not planning to. Haven't talked to anybody at Bay Area Polacon about doing anything. I would, but you know, I don't know. I'm just looking to hang. Like a bunch of cool people are going. We're staying in a house. We're probably gonna destroy this house. Probably destroy our brains. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be insane. I'm probably not gonna remember anything from this. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. PhotoBins asks, why are there no third-party Polaroid cameras like there are with Instax? I will direct you to an In an Instant video that specifically is kind of about this, and the link will be in the description. It's about the one third-party integral Polaroid film camera that was an SX70 clone. And just to briefly summarize sort of the concept, Polaroid has always been very finicky about their intellectual property, very protective of it. They have a long history of lawsuits, legal challenges, basically trying to preserve the fact that they make Polaroid film, they make Polaroid cameras, no one else does that. That's been something they very much tried to lock down throughout their history, and it was very, very smart. It's the reason that they survived, in my opinion, for all the years that they did and were successful. So they were so protective of that kind of carried on over the years. Even after Polaroid sort of dissolved, the only like third-party Polaroid cameras that were ever made were licensing deals that they did with other companies. The Polaroid, the Impossible i1 was like the first real integral film camera that didn't say Polaroid on it, and that's because like Impossible got the rights to be able to do that. So no one today continues to challenge that concept that Polaroid sort of has a lock tight on this. Polaroid will likely sue anyone who tries to do that, and it is what it is. Polaroid would not like anyone to do that, and I gotta respect them for trying to keep a tight lid on it. I think in the end, like everyone's making money on film, and so they shouldn't really worry about that, but who am I to say? Vistifer, aka Hollywood Visser, aka Vissy Wissy, aka CV asks, what is the best camera name? Something? When I did the review of the Diana Instax Square camera, I did like a lot of research onto the various clones that were made of Diana's, and the one that was named Mark L, I think has got to be the funniest camera name I've ever seen. Like, I don't even know if it means something else or it's supposed to mean another language or something. Mark L is Mark L? Marcus L? Wait, even if L meant 50 in Roman numerals, it doesn't make sense. Mark 50? That doesn't even make sense. That's the funniest by far. It's not even Mark L. Hodge98 says, favorite pic ever taken? This is always like an impossible one to answer, but I will say, I will qualify that because I recently had a photo that I took of my grandfather, Lad, which like might be one of my favorite photos I've ever taken. It's not like a super complex portrait, but a lot of heart and thought went into it, and a lot of buildup kind of went into it. Here he is with these glasses. He doesn't even wear glasses anymore. He got eye surgery, but like throughout his life, he wore glasses. I put a pencil in his ear because he was an illustrator in his youth. He was an actor. He appeared in 10 episodes of The Sopranos. That's a fun fact, and a bunch of movies, and as an extra. And so like we've got this sort of theatrical lighting going on. There's just a lot of elements and a lot of thought that went into this. And it's my grandfather, and he's like the guy I look up to. You know, he's the fraternelli, he's the Don. And I don't know, there's something about this that I feel like I will always look at this picture and be very thankful that we took the time and figured out how to get him into the studio and do that, and that I put thought into it, and that it worked out, and that it's like a good photo. That might be my favorite photo ever. That's what I would pick right now. Omid K asks, can you do a New 55 breakdown? Okay, so here's the thing about New 55. New 55 is the current Type 55 equivalent modern film that's being produced currently that is using new chemistry and like Kodak film negatives. It's a huge deal that there's someone making peel apart instant film with new chemistry. It's a major thing, but they're hugely behind on their orders. Production has been catastrophic for them. There's people that have been waiting for film for like close to 2 years. I wouldn't do a video specifically on that because of the situation that they're in and how angry people are about that. And I just feel bad about that. And I think that if they can somehow right the ship and get someone working for them that can like help them in some way, then I would do a video on it. And if they caught up on orders, I would do a video on it. But like they're in such a predicament right now, and I just don't see their way out. And so I'm not messing with New 55. If I ordered New 55 for a video right now, I wouldn't get it. I probably just wouldn't receive it, which is heartbreaking. I want New 55 to succeed as much as anybody else, but I just don't know what's going on with them, and so I'm not really sure I feel morally okay with doing that. Pieces of Dave says, what are your sources of inspiration, motivation, and hydration? I like viewing other people's work, but I think to be honest, a lot of my motivation comes from like self-motivation. I'm a very self-motivated person. I push myself really hard, too hard if you ask Lauren. And I motivate myself by, telling myself I need to do this. I need to do this by this day. I need to get these videos out. I need to take this job and do this at the same time. I'm very self-motivated to get as much done as I can and to create as much as I can. I'm motivated by having created, which sounds weird, but having made something and having put a lot of heart into something and making something out of that is like a big deal to me. And that's like the main motivation I think I have behind things. And that might seem a little bit like basic of a concept, like creation as the very motivation, but that kind of, I believe, is what motivates me, to be honest. I feel like Dan says, what is your favorite beer? An unusual question, and I love it. My favorite beer by far is Bell's Hop Slam. This is a 10% alcohol by volume IPA, but crafted to perfection. It's not bitter. They make it for only 2 months out of the year. It's like a very sought after thing. All my friends go nuts. We go crazy when it drops and it's slam season and we have like a slam party and we get slammed. But that's by far my favorite. The fact that it's limited like creates more hype over it for us, so I gotta pick that. And then the last question is by Anagram Instalog. Can you cover OpenSX70 in a future video? So for those who aren't aware, OpenSX70 is a project by a fella who's a genius named Joaquin, who's basically figured out a way to, like the Mint time machines, create manual SX70s. So it locks the SX70 at f8 for its aperture, and then it lets you manually choose the shutter speeds. It lets you manually switch between SX70 and 600 film. So it's a great product, except the fact that it relies on you swapping your PCB board, so like the like circuit board essentially that's inside the SX70, it requires you to swap that. So that's sort of like the log jam with the OpenSX70 project right now. It's not something I could personally do even. I would absolutely not feel comfortable like soldering or anything like that. I would probably explode. I would blow up my camera. So I feel like I don't feel comfortable making a video about something that I even couldn't do. And hopefully OpenSX70 gets to a place where they can like distribute their PCB boards to a store that can modify people's cameras for them. At that point, I would definitely do a video about it. I tend to not want to make videos about products that people like can't access unless there's like a curiosity to it. So OpenSX70, it's a possibility. I've shot with people who have it. It's awesome. But maybe just a hold on that. I think in the future, probably. And on that note, on the notes of in the future, thank you so much for watching this episode of In an Instant, this Instant Lounge episode. Again, I can't thank you enough for watching these videos. It's the reason I keep making them. The fact that there's like an interactivity, the fact there's a community, involved with In an Instant, the Discord channel, the Patreon, the people on Instagram, the YouTube commenters. It's crazy, guys. It's beyond my imagination, and I've really appreciated it, and I really appreciate all of you. So thank you for watching In an Instant. I know you've already smashed that subscribe button, but if not, go ahead. Maybe even hit the like button. I never really asked you to do that, but tap that like button. Stay tuned for more breakdowns, reviews, guides, shoots, lounge episodes, and all things instant. Bye.